Alright, just for a quick break here, we're going to go here, we're going to go to uploads, we're going to see we're going to do a shift click here, what's the last one that I uploaded, it was 406, see what we got left, go upload, 6, so we're going to do 7, we're going to do 8, we're going to upload these 2 videos, it's going to take 20 minutes or so, so minimize that. Alright, so picking up where we left off, we have the new value for this variable. We still have 9.5 million results over here. That's totally unmanageable, completely ridiculous, Stevie Wonder kind of stuff. So what do we got? What's the value of the variable over here in Cheat Engine? And according to Python, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look over here, you can see 1,000. Let's cancel this before we do it. 1,051. I mean, you're getting some results. 2348. Again, we reassigned it, new memory locations. We waited a while, chewed up a little memory with some other programs by bringing up Firefox, things like that. That's sort of some sort of techniques that we'll get into later, as far as like how to force the system to juggle memory around and whatnot. But you can see that a lot of these results are sort of ridiculous. I mean, there's in no way related to this. Is 2348 as a bit pattern? Does that equal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? You can break out a calculator, maybe screw around with the bit pattern and hexadecimal stuff like that. But again, by dragging this up and down, we are not seeing any results that is immediately identifiable as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's unfortunate. But again, when you have this many results and you're dragging this sort of cursor around, I mean, what you're moving by is not by a page. You're moving by thousands and thousands of records. So there's really, when you have this many records, there's really no way for you to click over here, hold on to this, and then drag up and down. I mean, it's not practical, and the filtering mechanisms that exist in the pointer scanner exist for a reason, and that's definitely one of them. So pointer scanner value defined. What are we looking for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are we looking for? We're looking for 0D. What do we got? It's scanner results. 10,064. Let me think about this. Did we screw ourselves in the last step by reassigning something to this variable? We may have. I think we may have. It's possible that we really screwed ourselves by doing that. But again, we're making this up off the top of our head, so we're gonna keep going. We're down to 10,000 results. That's a manageable set. Let's give this give this variable a new value. We're gonna just blank it all out. We're gonna go to 0. Is everything 0? Who knows? We're gonna go to rescan memory. What value are we looking for? We're going to 0. Make it 0E. We're gonna close this. Close the interpreter. Cheat Engine freaks out a little bit. Says question mark, question mark. All this stuff goes blank. That's fine. So how are we going to deal with this? We're going to open it back up. We're going to reattach Cheat Engine to it. No, we do not want to keep the code list because it's all stale by now, because we only have we only have addresses, relative to this. We don't have any offsets or pointers or things like that. Go to new scan. I'm going to make the first variable again. It's not Bugs Bunny. It's not Daffy Duck. I don't know. Who's your favorite Looney Tunes guy? I don't know. Space. No, we already did that. I'm a big fan of Marvin the Martian. I'm a big fan of Marvin the Martian. Not only am I a big fan, but I am the fan. Give it some absurd value. You can see over here that we already have immediately 2 values that have adopted the value that we have set over here. And we'll scroll down a little bit. 429. No. It's again manageable set of results. 10,000 is still ridiculous, but you have a somewhat more coherent idea of what you're talking about as far as values. You can grab onto this now, and you can scroll down, and you're not talking about 10,000 records every page. You can sort of. Are you still seeing every single record? No, but you have a somewhat better idea as far as managing the results and checking the values and seeing how close are you. Do you have anything that matches what you're saying or whatnot? So see if we can find this with Cheat Engine. What do we got? 5102343. 5102343. One result. Let's change the value. We're gonna make it 0. I'm gonna ask Python here. What is Marvin the Martian? the value of this variable is in fact 0. I have take a drink because this is been doing these videos just back to back nonstop. My head, my brain is. So because this is incredibly complex stuff and whatnot, yeah, it's a little complex, even though you have an understanding of it. But I mean, this is like probably recording an hour video just straight dump from the brain. And again, none of this is planned. We're just making this up off the top of our head. So I'm gonna just take a couple seconds. Let's double click the time or single click the time here. What do we got? 36. All right, I'm gonna take till about 54 or so. And what I'm really doing right now is I'm thinking back on one of the previous steps about where I was asking the question if we screwed up. It's possible we really fucked ourselves by doing that. And in that case, we're going to have to sort of go back and redo some of this. So again, just Marvin the Martian. Jumping back in. Change value to 5. It's 5. Pointer scanner, rescan, value, 5. 0F. 311 results. We're going to shut this down again. We're going to open it back up. First variable. I don't know if that's a random enough bit pattern or not, but no. Shit. So yeah, well, we gotta close it down. We're gonna restart this. I really don't want to get out in left field here where we gotta start screwing around with secondary variables and things like that. There's enough levels of indirection going on under the hood where I'm juggling a lot in my head right now. So we'll stick with the name Henry Kissinger. We'll just set it to a larger value. No idea what that is. Fuck. Alright. Reattach it. One value. Pretty random bit pattern. You can see over here on the pointer scanner here. This is something where we can actually use the mouse up and mouse down, start scrolling through it. This has no value, this has no value, things like that, but all this other stuff has the same value that we were talking about. So, or that we were entering in Python and whatnot. Maybe we're on the right track. It seems like we've restarted and closed this down a couple times. We're still getting the same values. It's possible that if you restarted your computer, enough memory would be juggled around, and wow, maybe we almost ran out of time there. And enough memory would be juggled around where all this stuff would just completely invalidate, and that's part of what makes this such a tedious process, which is, you're shutting an application down, you're restarting it, part of what matters as far as where in the absolute value of the entire RAM of your computer, part of what matters as far as these levels of indirection go is where the process itself is loaded into RAM. So, some people say, you read around and you browse around about how to scan for pointers with Cheat Engine, and some people say, well, restart your computer, and other people are like, well, that's crazy talk. Why do people say restart your computer? Because when you restart your computer, what it does is it obviously, the whole nature of RAM is that things are stored in it electronically. When you cut off the electricity to that RAM, it is no longer able to store values. And, some people will pedantically say, well, even when you shut off your computer, the power supply is still, turned on, there's still electricity. That's not what we're talking about. When you power down your computer, if we went to this and then we click shut down and went along with that, essentially, as far as the RAM is concerned, the power would be cut off. It would not be able to store value because it would have, we're digging way the hell down here, but it would have no voltage associated with it, so that it would not be able to store bits in memory in an electronic way so that everything in it would be completely wiped out. Now, that's unfortunate, but part of what makes RAM so fast and the reason why we love RAM is because it uses electricity and it operates more or less at the speed of light. If you really want to read about this, you can jump on Wikipedia and things like that, but that's what enables us to use RAM in such an effective way. So if we were to restart the computer, everything in its RAM would immediately be forgotten. We'd have to reboot it and reload it, and everything would be loaded fresh. And a lot of these values or a lot of these pointers would change. Now, as it turns out, there are tricks that we can use when you understand memory management and how it works and how operating systems function that you can use to sort of screw around with some of these values. So how are we going to do that? Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to rescan this one more time. Even just sitting here and me talking, just sitting here and wasting time, you can see some of these things have sort of invalidated. As a quick A side, anytime you're using the pointer scanner or something like that, you see a question mark or a series of question marks or a hyphen over here. Yeah, essentially, that's Cheat Engine's way of telling you this is a totally invalid pointer, and I'm not reading any valid value from it. So, let's just disregard those. How do we disregard those? It's really quite simple. We go to pointer scanner, we go to rescan, we check this box that's immediately below this. We're searching for a value? No. We're searching for an address? No. We're filtering out invalid pointers. You see these gray out. What does it mean? That tells Cheat Engine, if there's an invalid pointer that you cannot get an address from, filter it out, get rid of it from this result set. This is somewhat of a tricky option because occasionally, pointers, especially multi-level ones like we're dealing with here, they will validate and then invalidate and then validate and then invalidate, and it becomes tricky. So I mean, whenever you run this, sometimes some of the pointers will oscillate back and forth, and if you run this at the wrong time, whatever, in some arbitrary context, it'll clean out some of the pointers that maybe you really wanted to screw with. So you got to use this option with a little bit of caution, but when you're down to a small value set like this, 311, it's something that you can sort of get away with. And also, it's also on a philosophical point or whatnot. It's worth mentioning that if a pointer is oscillating back and forth between values, like valid, invalid, valid, invalid, things like that, it's generally not a pointer you're interested in anyway. It's probably concerned with some internal state, some calculations, things like that. But anyway, we're gonna take the risk. Fuck it, we're living on the edge, so let's there's the edge right there. Let's jump right the hell over. 0G. 0G, that's what I'm talking about. Down to 282. Was that a huge reduction? No. But what it did was it weeded out probably some internal state pointers. So now we can sort of grab this. We can scroll down in a controllable way. See that we're down to some sort of manageable list. Every single one has the same value. Let's just go into Cheat Engine before we run out of time here. We're going to set this to somewhat more sane lower level or lower value, as case may be. Let's do 42 because Douglas Adams is awesome. So there you go. They all changed to 42. We'll grab this again in a controllable way. We're literally going up and down by single records right now. If we were to grab this with 9 million records, the pagination, if you will, is not going to be one. You're paginating in tens of thousands of values. Every single one of them is 42. Now we're getting into some territory where it's how do we know which one's what? It's something we'll dive into. Again, we'll close this the program that we're attaching to and searching for values. We'll close this a couple times and sort of screw around. But there's also some other tricks that we can use to sort of shuffle memory around in the absolute RAM of the computer to sort of get some of these pointers to change. And the technical reasons as to why moving absolute memory around or memory allocation around in the RAM, in the whole RAM of the computer, again, absolute values around in the memory of the computer. There are technical reasons as to why that's going to help you, but we're not really going to dive into any of that. We're simply just going to sort of go over in a general way some techniques or a specific technique that we can use to sort of reset some of these pointers or reset what these pointers are relative to.